the
Okay, you can share.
Right. Okay. We'll have to. Okay. 1 second. I'm just having a slow time opening this document up.
Yeah. Early in the morning, everybody's tired, including your computer.
Yeah, before the computer gets a cup of coffee, it's slow.
I tell you.
I'll tell you, a cup of coffee's gonna slow it down quite a bit more, I think. Depending on where you pour it.
Good
You get all your
point.
stuff, Aaron? Mayor,
Yeah.
you get all your stuff from Aaron?
I did get most of it. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Okay. Why is this? Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, I think we're making progress, slowly but surely. Okay, if we remember, just to start things off, we were talking about the miktav, and the kasav, and the miktav, and the luchos, were three separate things that were created ben hashmoshes. Okay, now, okay, it's coming in now. So we brought two or three different pshatim as what that was, and you'll be able to see that now. Cassius, Shamir. Right. Okay. So, okay, this, and on the second page of your document there, if you have it, which is on the screen now, and we read, this is what we read yesterday. It's probably worthwhile going over it again today, just to try and get because there was some slight nuances in the difference in the pshat. Yeah. Eliezer Tzvi, would you like to start reading?
Where would you like me to start?
Okay, right where the green arrow is.
In the meantime, good morning, Rabbi Furst. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, good
Good
morning.
morning,
Good to
Roy.
see you also. Very good. Okay, everybody's Baruch Hashem. Okay, so yeah, to see where it says Kasav Miktav Rabbeinu Shlomo. That's Rashi. That's how he refers to as Rashi.
Haksav and Miktav Rabbeinu Shlomo Zal, Perish. Rashi explains. Haksav haosios. Ksav means the osios, and Miktav hatevos.
Right.
Is that like the shapes or the forms?
The tevos apparently are the words.
Nope.
Osios should be letters, and a miktav, a tevos. The tevos are usually the words. Now, Roy had a comment yesterday, which is going to be another one of the pshatim we're going to see. He was thinking maybe it could be maybe that's what you were thinking of, it's like the font, the way that but the font is really, it rests in the letters. It doesn't rest in the words, right? Tevos are usually understood to be words, right?
Does he mean where the words break?
Not sure. I don't know. This is all the information we have.
Okay.
So, yep. Okay.
continue. V'kein perish bal ha'aruch, and so explains the bal ha'aruch.
Right.
Lama nimnu shnayim, and I don't know why, or we don't know why they made two cases out of it.
Right, I mean, why are these two separate things, right? According to this explanation, meaning all the words are made up of letters. So just if the letters are made that way, so the words automatically the same thing. So why are they considered to be two?
Well,
Right?
it could,
Two.
but
Go ahead.
what's it mean, what letters and how they're written? Miktav would be how they were written.
Okay, so good. I think that's going to be another shot. We'll see. That might be-
Maybe we could compare it to a family. Each member of the family is individual, but when you come together, you make up the family. Each letter is individual. When it comes up to make a word, which might be completely different from the individual letter.
Could be like a Scrabble game, right? You have all the letters and the little wood chips there, right? And they're just a bunch of letters in the box. And then when you take them and you put them in the order of the words, then that's two things. It's making actual letters and then actually making the words itself.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yes, but I'm saying that each individual letter, has a significance of its own.
Yes.
But they are all, their job is to go together with each other to make a word,
Right.
and the word can mean something different from what they are individually, or can be part of what they are individually.
Right. Right. Okay. I hear. Let's continue on.
Okay.
Okay.
Rabbeinu Al Perish, Rabbeinu explains, Haksav Shahayasa Kisuva Lifnei Hashem Yisbarach Be'esh Shechor Al Gabe Esh Levana. The Ksav it was written before Hashem Yisbarach with fire, which is, I guess, the fire on top of white fire.
Right. Black fire on top of white fire.
All right, black fire on top of white fire. Kmoshe Niskar b'Midrash Chazos. As we see, as is mentioned in the Midrash Chazos. I don't know what Midrash Chazos is.
I'm not sure which medrash it is, but it's as he puts in brackets in Shir Shirim, it might be the Midrash Rabbah. He might have called it by a different name. Instead of Midrash, maybe Midrash Chazos.
Yerushalmi Perak Mashiach Milchama. It's also mentioned in Yerushalmi in Perak Mashiach Milchama in Sota. The Michtav, in the Michtav, Suras Osios Ha-Chorosos al-Halavanos. Al-Aluchos. This is the form of the letters as they are inscribed on the luchos. Gamze Perish Ba'aruch, there's also explained in the Aruch. V'hosif Shehayu Nikron Mikal Studin. They were read from all sides. Tatraguna.
That the luchos, they were cubes, as we discussed in the previous paragraph. They were cubed, and that's why it's like a tetraguna, they're like a tetragram.
Okay. I didn't think that was a Hebrew word.
No, it's probably Greek.
Perish Arbit Sadim, it has four sides. The Cain Yerushalmi is also mentioned in Yerushalmi. Paraches Halacha Gimel and Sota. In Parak Mishum Melcham, in the same parak. In the same parak, excuse me.
Right. That's right.
Gamzeh HaPerish Eno Misyashev.
Right. This,
Which I also don't understand.
right. It's not settled. I mean, it's not he doesn't feel comfortable with this explanation. This one also.
Shehatorah Kodem Olam Nivra V'lo Bein Hashmashos. The Torah itself was created before creation and not Bein Hashmashos. Im nifrash hakosov, if you're trying to explain the writing, source osios, the form of the letters, are miktav makosov al luchos, what's written on the luchos, nemar, because the pasuk says, miktav miktav aleh Elokim, who charus al luchos, the writing that Hashem wrote or inscribed on the luchos in Shmos Lamed Beis. It was written, it was a cube that was as explained by the Aruch. Yisyashev Yafeim Masha Nizkar Yerushalayim. That goes well with what they wrote in Yerushalmi, Perak Mishum Muhammad, and the Perak Mishum Muhammad. V'kein hu b'midrash Chazos is also in the Midrash Chazos.
So yeah, go ahead. Okay.
You saw what I said.
Yeah, I'm also trying to. It's not so clear to me myself, to tell you the truth. It says first of all, it says that it's an explanation which is difficult. However, but if you're nifresh a kasav, that if you can explain that the kasav means the sursa osios, the form of each an individual letter, miktav is masha kasav al luchos, right?
Right.
And the miktav is what was written on the luchos. Meaning you have two things. You have the letters, and then you have what was actually written, right? So then that would make it settled. Yisyashiv Yafit works out very, very nicely according to the Rishami and according to the Perak Musham, the Rishami and the Medrash.
I don't know if this fits in with what Eliezer just read, but I'm just wondering because it talks about the letters, and then it says what's written on the luchos. I remember hearing one time that the designation of which letters form words is not necessarily fixed, that there's more than one Torah that can be read from the same word, same set of letters.
Right.
So maybe that's what it's talking about, that there's a miraculous aspect that the formation of the words itself can happen in multiple ways.
Mhm. That might be what he means by the fact that it's a cube, a tetragram, because really, as he explains, as we saw, you could read it from all sides, and all four sides you could read it the same. The fact that it was written, and see, I don't know, when they explain it, it was you could read it on all four sides. Was that means it was engraved on all four sides? Or was it engraved one time and then was, so to speak, it projected in four different directions? I don't know. I'm really not sure.
And what you were reading from the different sides, was it the same thing? Or was
Right.
it a different configuration of letters?
Right. I mean, it all came out to the same thing. You also started the first of the Dibros was Anochi Hashem Elokecha. They all read the same way. Always read the same way, but miraculously from four different sides.
Right. So that would I would associate with the letters, not with the words.
Right. Okay. It's not so clear, but let's continue on a bit to the next paragraph.
Yesh Meforshim.
Yes.
In the Meforshim we say, Haksav, the writing, him Asaras Adibros Beluchos. That's Yasaras Adibros in the Luchos. B'michtav hu hakli shebo kosvin v'horin ba'avonim. That is the tool that they used to engrave the writing on the stones.
Right, like a stylus.
Okay,
Which is the word that means tool?
kli.
A cleat. The question is, the question on this is what's so miraculous about that, right?
Right.
mean,
Kmo eight
You have
barzel.
many, right? 8 bars, like a pen of a metal pen.
Right, an iron stylus. The hamichtav garsinin al mishkal mazlag.
Yeah, that I don't know what that means exactly. Mikta Garcinin al Mishkal Mazleg. Mazleg is like a fork. In modern Hebrew, a mazleg. Actually, the part of the basic English, they had certain mazleg that they would use to turn over the busser on the mizbeach.
Right.
But I'm not sure what it means. I don't. This is a few words here. I'm not sure what they mean. Well, Michtav Garcinin al Mishkal Mazleg Masmer. Masmer is usually a nail, right? Masmer is a nail.
I think you're describing what the 8 looked like. It's something pointy at the end, like a mazleg or a masmer.
Okay.
Hasida.
Okay, good. I can accept that. Fine. Okay.
B'michtav yesh b'rishon kedushin, and the writing is described as being of kedushin. Kafal from the bays. The Cain b'mishnah kalim. It's also
What's kedusha?
That's the Gemara in Kedusha.
Yeah. The Cain mishnah kalim per Yud Gimel mishnah bays.
Right.
Per Tezvav mishnah ches.
Right. Very good.
Mutav shenetal hakasav. Not what does it mean? Mitav shenital hakosev.
Right. The miktav shenotol should, I think the miktav, that's what like takes or places the kasav, the writing.
Okay. The Cain Parish Rashi Zal the Perik Malcolm Shinagu, and so explains Rashi and Perik Malcolm Shinagu. Nun Dalet Amud Aleph, I guess that's also in Kedushin. V'zehu Nikra Etzba Elokim. And that's what's called the finger of Hashem, Shmos Lamed Aleph Yudches. The Takimo Onkelos, and Onkelos translates this as the Etzbo Dai, I guess the finger of Hashem. V'lo Taru the Mimdei Hashem.
There's a race. B'memra Hashem, the word of Hashem.
Okay.
Or the statement of Hashem.
Okay, so near it appears Shebekli Chokaku Haosios Beluchos. With some sort of a tool, he etched out the letters on the luchos, on the stones. The Cain Parish Rabbeinu Moshe, Zatzal B'Sefer Hamora. I don't know who Rabbeinu Moshe is.
That's the Rambam in Sefer Mora Morim Nevuchim. That's the way they reference to Sefer Mora Nevuchim.
Right, Mora Nevuchim Shebekli Nichtavu, because that it was written with a utensil. Also Kli Nikra Etzba Elokim, and this Kli was called the finger of Hashem. Kmoshe Nikra Amita, just like we call a bed, Amita Elohim, a bed of Hashem. Benivra Kishe.
So that's the mata, like the mata that Moshe Rabbeinu had. That's the mata, the staff.
Okay, right, the staff. Benivra, and it appears Nivru Haluchos Shalo Nemru Bo Bria Bishas Bishis Mebrachis. And it appears that when they broke the luchos,
Well, that's not when they were created. The question is when they were created. Nivro.
Bria B'Shesh, they were not made during Shesh Bereshis. They weren't made during the 6 days of creation. The Efsha Achar and it's impossible to have made them afterwards. Shemar Ein Kol Chadash Takas Shemes, as this doesn't go hellas, there's nothing new under the sun. In Cain, Shmashos Nivra, therefore they must have been created during Ben Shmashos.
All right, so that's going to bring us. So, does anyone want to summarize? If someone will ask you this afternoon, what is in the mission Avos of it says Akasav Miktav Luchos? What exactly were those things talking about? You want to try and summarize a bit?
Well, there seem to be a lot of different opinions about it.
That's number one, correct? Yeah.
Which I guess you could say that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Whether it's the letters and the words, or the letters and how they were written,
Right.
I don't have a feeling for which is the preferred interpretation at all.
Right. We don't have there's no clear decision in terms of what it is. I mean, we aside from that, what it actually is, we understand some of the problems in the different pshatim, right?
Yes.
I don't. I'm kind of lost at this point.
Okay. So let's see. So, all right. What you want to specify any particular question that you have? You know that when Alexander the Great, it's a Gemara in I think Giga. Alexander the Great, he came to the Chachmi Darom, came to Eretz Israel to conquer Eretz Israel. So he came to the sages in Eretz Israel. So he said he wanted to go to the Hari Hoshach, the dark, the mountains of darkness, and it was known that they were called the Hari Hoshach because people would get lost there. So he asked the Chachamim of the Dorim of Chazal, what's he supposed to do? He wants to go to the Hari Hoshach. So he said, take a rope, and tie it where you enter, and then make sure when you on the way out you follow your rope back out. So when you're in your learning, when you get yourself lost, so you try and back up to the last point that you seem to understand, and then we can work forward from that. So what is there any particular point that you have a clarity about?
Well, I mean, I think I have clarity about the letters. That the letters are miraculous in that they they float. They're readable from four sides. They're black fire and white fire. I think I've got some clarity on that.
Right.
When we get to the current paragraph, and it talks about this 8, which I wrote down stylus. I'm not sure if I'm translating it correctly.
Yes, that's one of the pshatim, stylus, right?
So I don't get that. What that is? What's the description? It's a fork and it's a nail. And what do I care?
Yes.
Well,
So I think, yeah, as Eliezer Tzvi mentioned, if you go ahead, Eliezer Tzvi, explain it. I like your understanding of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it just means that it was some sort of a sharp object that they could, it says a nail or a fork, just something with a sharp, like you said, a stylus, something with a sharp point at the end that you would use to carve the letters out.
So what's the why do I care what it was? I mean, what's it got?
I'm telling you, he's trying to describe what this kli was some sort of a sharp object. That's all. Just give me a description of what it is.
It's got to go into rock. It's
Yeah,
got to do its
Yeah.
job in rock, not on paper. So it does
Well, yeah.
matter whether it's a pen, a quill, or a stylus, or what.
Right, so that's why he's explaining it's like a mazleg, it's like a fork, which is made of metal and sharp, and a masmir, like it's like a nail, like it also is sharp and usually made of metal as well, right?
So is it miraculous in nature somehow?
So that's what that was one of my questions. If you say it's a stylus, so an engraving tool, that's not necessarily. I don't see what the necessity of it being somewhat miraculous is. An engraving tool, we have plenty of them.
Depends
Right.
on what the rock was made from. If it was granite, it would need to be miraculous.
It's sapphire.
It was sapphire. Okay, it needs to be miraculous because sapphire is pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, I don't know.
And it's got to be able to do a clean job.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. You have to be able
So
to.
some rocks or some such minerals would fracture and powder rather than give nice straight lines.
Right. Another thing I don't except for the fact that there's a pasuk that it's the Etzbel Akim, because it was Kasav Etzbel Akim, right? So that's not learning like this shot. Meaning, if it was written with Etzbel Akim, so Hashem obviously doesn't need a stylist to write. I mean, how are we supposed to understand? He quoted the pasuk, "V'zeh nikra Etzbel Akim." That's what it's called, the Etzbel Akim.
Now that brings to mind something else I heard in the past, which is that the first luchos were written by Hashem. The second luchos were written by Moshe.
Right.
So does that mean that the stylus was used by Moshe when he did the second ones, but the first ones there was no stylus, it was just Hashem directly somehow?
Well, we learned, they explained that what luchos are we talking about here? We're talking about the first luchos, right? The luchos that Moshe Rabbeinu made later, that's not what we're referring to here. Here we're referring to the luchos that Hashem gave to Moshe Rabbeinu. And he was given these luchos all complete. He didn't have to do anything to prepare them.
Okay, so if that's the case, then first it talks about the stylus and then it talks about the finger. Is it saying that the stylus is the finger of Hashem? Which wouldn't make any sense to me.
Yes, the finger of Hashem is like a stylus, does the function of a stylus.
Right. Yeah. That's the way I understood it, but I'm a little bit bothered by that explanation because we don't have to attribute that to a Kadosh. There's no necessity to attribute that to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu just could have made it any way he wanted it, right? I mean, he didn't need to have if in fact that we're being taught that Kadosh Baruch Hu in the miraculous formation of the luchos used a stylus of some sort. I mean, we're being taught that for some reason, right? I mean, as with all these things, Chazal must be teaching us all these things for some reason. These things weren't included in the Mishnayos and in the Gemara and for no reason. There's obviously something we need to learn and apply to ourselves in some way, which I haven't come to a real clear conclusion about that yet.
Yeah, we need to be able to relate to it. Now, if we read that Hashem flicked his fingers and there it was, great. What's that? That doesn't sort of bring us as close to the Luchot as if we realize it had to have some work done on it.
Mhm. So,
Yeah, I would expand on what Roy just said, that there's something that's miraculous about the words. And I think it's trying to tell us that, but I don't really get it. Is it miraculous that it had this miraculous stylus? And that was called the finger of Hashem? And what about this Mata Elohim? What is that?
well, I don't know, that's the Mata, that's the Mata Shomos. We're gonna get to that. That's that we actually had that before. The Mata was what we had before. Where is it? Let me go back, you know, so Keshes, Man. After the Man, you see on your first page, if you still have your first page, right, you have the Mata Shel Moshe, right?
That's the staff?
That's right, that's the staff, exactly.
So why in this paragraph does it say the Mata Elohim, the staff of God? And what does that have to do with the Etzba Elohim?
Because he's explaining a semantic point over here, that that the fact that the luchos were written, right, so to speak, by Hakadosh Baruch Hu, so they're referred to as being written by the Etzba Elokim. Obviously, Hashem has no hand, no finger, and but nevertheless, through his whatever medium Hakadosh Baruch Hu used, the luchos were there was engraving the Aseres Dibros on the luchos, and that was done, right. That process, it's not a thing, it's not a finger, there's no such thing as a finger of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, but that process, right, is referred to as Etzba Elokim. Okay, likewise the Mata, right, the Mata is also referred to as the Mata Elokim, because all those events and occurrences, miracles and wonders that were done through the staff, right, those were all coming from a Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So that's representative of the fact that the miraculous process by which Klal Yisrael was taken out of Mitzrayim was done through the medium, or one of the mediums of the staff.
Okay, but the staff is an actual physical thing that Moshe held in his hand.
Right, but in spite of that, it's called the Mata Elokim.
Right. So the
Right.
Etzba Elohim, are we saying that that's referring to the 8, the stylus?
It could be that crossed my mind, that if we'll say it, because we're talking about something that's being created over here, right? So obviously, if the Michtav is the stylus, so there was an actual stylus that was created, right?
Right. But you couldn't do anything with that stylus alone. It had to be a miraculous assistance, like with the staff. The staff, in order for the staff to split the sea, there had to be a miraculous assistance, and that's why we call it Mata Elokim. So maybe the stylus also needed a miraculous assistance, and so we call it the Etzba Elokim.
Right, but if we're going to say like that, so when did this miraculous assistance take place? When was that created? Ma'aser Bereshis, and it was just there, floating around spiritually in potential, waiting for the Yam Suf to be split, or waiting for the miracles in Mitzrayim to be done, or waiting for the Luchos to be written. I don't know.
That's what I'm going to ask. Was the Luchos, the first story of Luchos, given to Moshe Rabbeinu and that's it? Or did he watch it being written?
My understanding is they were given to Moshe Rabbeinu. Wherever they were, they came from wherever they were and they given to Moshe Rabbeinu. I don't know if he witnessed. I mean, here we're saying they were created doing Banish Moshe's Meiser Bereshis. So they were created a long time before Matan Torah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were being held somewhere for safekeeping until Moshe Rabbeinu would come to the Kabbalah Torah.
Well, that raises another question in my mind. When we say that they were created Banish Mashos, are we saying literally that on that at that particular time there was something that physically happened, or are we saying that this is a Kabbalah to give us an understanding of the nature of this thing, that it had certain qualities that we associate with the phrase Beinash Mashos, but not that it's a physical thing.
And the way I understand it, it's physical. They actually physically created at that time. That's the way I seem to understand it.
A question arises that why did Hashem have to do it that way? There was no people there to watch. There was no witnesses, maybe except from the angels, but there were no witnesses, no men, no people. So however he did them, it seems not to matter, but apparently it does. We have to understand its method of creation, the luchos, how they were created. But the question is also, why were they created in that way? Why did he not just flick his fingers or just have a thought?
Right. So
You could say that about all of creation, Roy.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
But we're focusing now on the luchot. So
right.
that's
In the earlier paragraphs of, if I'm not mistaken, of this document we're working on, he explained that the certain quality these things have a certain quality which precluded them from being created with the rest of Meiser Bereshis in the first six days, right? It was out of necessity they needed to be created at this time of Benish Moshes, because there was a certain quality that was now being infused into existence, because Shabbos was about to begin. The first Shabbos was about to begin, and with that there was an influx of extra kedusha and tahara, right? And so these things needed to have also a higher level of kedusha and tahara that necessitated them to be created as close to Shabbos' entrance as possible. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're still in the middle of this. Okay, there's a lot of more. These questions and a few other questions as well. We'll try and work on them as we go through. We still have a few things left, and we'll hopefully pick up tomorrow. And
Rabbi, perhaps tomorrow will we start?
See if we can get a little bit more clarity.
Rabbi,
Excuse me, Lou? Yeah.
perhaps tomorrow when we start, I'd like to request that you just read this paragraph that Eliezer just read. Just read it through once, because it's kind of chopped up in my mind.
yes, that's true.
Okay, so remind me tomorrow when we start off tomorrow. Just remind me, and we'll go over it again. No problem. Okay.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fine,
Ron.
thank you, Roy. Have a good afternoon, and we'll be
Okay.
going on with Mr. Brewster in a few minutes, break, and hope to see you all soon. And again, Roy, have a good afternoon. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you.